Welcome to This Explainer. Look, today we're going to unpack something we all do, something that is incredibly frustrating. It's a cognitive error that completely disconnects us from reality and honestly just generates a massive amount of unnecessary anxiety in our daily lives. If you have ever felt totally stressed out about a disaster that literally hasn't even happened yet, well, you're in exactly the right place. So let me ask you a really personal question right off the bat. How often do you assume a situation is going to inevitably turn out badly before you even have a single fact to support that? We all do it to some degree, sure, but for a lot of us, it's just this constant, exhausting habit. All right, section 1, predicting the worst, the unseen habit of the anxious mind. We really have to shine a light on this because you can't fix a trap until you realize you're standing right in it. You know the drill here. Think about these everyday scenarios. You're completely convinced you're going to bomb a presentation at work, and you haven't even drafted the notes yet. Or you're sure a new diet will fail before you've bought the groceries. Maybe you assume your relationship is totally over after one minor argument about doing the dishes. Or, my personal favorite, you wake up feeling just a tiny bit off and immediately assume you've got the flu. We just assume the absolute worst, basically grieving our own lives for things that haven't even happened. Which brings us to section 2, the fortune-telling trap, the physical toll of an imagined future. Because this isn't just some harmless, fleeting thought. Psychologists actually categorize this specific thought pattern as a cognitive distortion called fortune-telling. It is literally the error of predicting negative outcomes for your future without any realistic basis or facts. You're treating your own unfounded, highly pessimistic assumptions as if they were already established reality. It's kind of like you're acting as a psychic, but exclusively for bad news. There's this really profound insight from our source material. Most fear lives in thoughts about the future. Think about that for a second. It perfectly highlights how we generate real, actual suffering in the present moment by mentally living in this dreaded, entirely non-existent future. We literally take the piece of today and destroy it by borrowing trouble from a tomorrow that hasn't even arrived. And let's be honest, it probably never will arrive in the way we're picturing it. And guys, this is where it gets incredibly costly for us. On one side, you have these completely imagined threats, the whole fortune-telling routine. But on the other side, very real physical reactions. The danger is entirely in your head, but your nervous system is reacting as if there's a literal tiger in the room with you. Your heart races, your breathing gets shallow, you flood your system with stress hormones. All of that just because of a story your mind made up. Let's move on to section 3. Perception versus reality, the illusion of our thoughts. To understand why our brains play these awful tricks on us, we have to look at the mechanics of perception. Okay, here is a fundamental truth about human psychology that is an absolute game changer once you get it. Your thoughts are models of reality. They are not reality itself. They are just guesses, they're interpretations. Your mind is basically just a storyteller. Now, its original evolutionary job was to protect you from actual danger, but in our modern world, it mostly just tries to keep you safe by keeping you scared. The source text uses a brilliant philosophical metaphor to explain this. It compares your thoughts to a map and reality to the actual territory. Confusing your thoughts with reality is exactly like mistaking a map drawn on a piece of paper for the actual dirt and pavement you walk on. That map might show this giant, impossible mountain of disaster ahead, but when you actually walk the territory, it turns out to just be a tiny bump in the road. Your fortune-telling mind is just drawing really, really bad maps. Which naturally brings us to this vital reminder. Feelings are not facts. Just because you feel incredibly anxious about an upcoming event doesn't make a disastrous outcome a guaranteed fact. That feeling, it's just an indicator of the story your mind is telling in that moment. You experience your thoughts, yes, but you are not your thoughts. Okay, section 4, challenging your predictions, taking back control of your mind. We've agitated the problem, we've exposed the illusion, so let's finally pivot to the empowering part, the tools to actually solve this. The core strategy they give us here revolves around a concept called dispute. When your mind hands you one of these negative predictions, you have to actively dispute it. Treat that fearful thought like a hostile witness on trial and press it for facts. Ask yourself right then and there, is this thought actually true? Do I have any real evidence for this? You would be absolutely amazed at how fast that fortune-telling falls apart under basic cross-examination. So how do we actually put that into practice? 3 concrete steps. Number 1, literally write the negative prediction down.
Getting it out of your head creates objective distance. Number 2, actively look for contradictory evidence. Ask yourself, why won't this be a total disaster? And number 3, review the actual accuracy later. By checking your past predictions against what actually ended up happening, you're training your mind to realize it's a terrible psychic. Over time, that naturally leads to a much more balanced, realistic mindset.
Benjamin Disraeli actually hit the nail on the head with this philosophy. I am prepared for the worst, but hope for the best. It is so perfectly grounded. It reminds us that we can be responsible adults, right? We can prepare for life's unmanageability without treating negative outcomes as guaranteed facts. It's like you can carry an umbrella without actively crying over a storm that hasn't even formed yet.
So as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with this one provocative question to chew on. What would your future, and honestly, what would your present, look like if you just stopped expecting the worst? Imagine the energy, the creativity, the peace of mind you'd get back if you finally resigned from your job as a psychic of doom. Start challenging your distortions, question those maps your mind keeps drawing, and get back to walking the actual territory of reality.